to Season 3 of the Happiness Mama podcast. I'm Heather Ash, a mindful mama, teacher, and coach at happinessmama.com. I'm so excited and happy to bring you Season 3, which is all about self-love. It's about loving ourselves in action and in truth, body, mind, and spirit. Thank you so much for listening. I'm so happy you're here. Welcome to episode 23 of the Happiness Mama podcast. I want to wish a happy birthday to my show, which just turned 2 years old this very day. This is October 7th, 2017 that I'm recording. So hooray, happy birthday, Happiness Mama podcast. I'm so thankful that I chose, maybe 3 years ago to create a podcast. And so thankful that I kept my vision in my mind and believed I could do it and kept on saying I was going to do it and telling people I was going to do it and then, taking all the steps to do it, to actually do it. Because it was a while that, I was saying, I'm going to do this. I want to do this. And it was a big work in progress. It took a while, but then, I finally did it. And I'm just also really thankful that I've continued doing it because it has brought so much joy to my life. And I really love creating this for y'all. Thank you so much, those of you who have gotten in touch to say that you enjoy the show, that it's made a positive difference in your life. That makes me so very, very, very happy. And if you really like the show, it would be so nice if you wanted to leave a review on iTunes or a rating, so that other moms can find the show, because it just seems like when there are more reviews on iTunes, it just gets more visibility. It's more visible to more people. So that could help if you'd like to do something to help out the show, give a little birthday present. The other awesome thing, and probably even better, that you could do is just tell a friend. Tell your friends about it, share about it, let people know. So more people can find it and create their happiest lives and remember how important they are and their happiness is. So thank you. Thank you so much for listening. And I also wanted to say thank you to everyone who helped me get nominated for the 2017 People's Choice Podcast Awards. That was so fun to be part of, and it felt great to be nominated for that. Happiness Mama did not win, but that's okay. It was a really huge honor just to be nominated and be part of that. So thank you so much. Before we jump in, I have one more thing to share. In October, I enjoyed taking part in the 2 Pods a Day campaign. 2 Pods a Day introduces you to 2 independent podcasts each day. You can check it out at 2podsaday.wordpress.com, and I'll have a link in the show notes too. I love the tagline of 2 Pods a Day. It's listen more, listen indie. Yay, enjoy. Check out some new podcasts. So thank you again for listening. Thank you for telling your friends about the show. And most of all, thank you for letting me into your life in this small way. I do hope you enjoy it and benefit from it. So in today's episode 23, I want to talk about PMS. Specifically, how crazy or depressed or angry or sad or all of the above we can feel sometimes during this time of the month. I have dealt with this in varying degrees my whole life, and I know I'm not alone. So I thought I'd start by telling you what this looks like in my own life. One thing I do, and I highly recommend it, is charting your cycle so that you can make a note, like if you're feeling anxious or down or depressed or really good or energetic on, different days of your cycle, so that it gives you a better idea of what your normal pattern is so you can expect it. And if you are feeling anxious, like 3 days before your period, you'll know, oh yes, I tend to feel that way at that time of the month. That's happening again and again. So you can know it's going to happen and be prepared for it, and it just reminds you that this is normal and this will pass. And that helps a little bit. It doesn't make it all go away, but it does help you to remember, okay, I know I'm going to get through this. I know that these are, my hormones being a little bit out of whack. So, all right. So what does it look like for me? Well, so I usually have a few days near the end of my cycle where I'm feeling kind of blue, definitely more sensitive than usual. And then usually there's like one day where things seem really rough and just, can often feel really intense, overwhelming, sad. Maybe I'm, crying a lot or feel like crying anyway. And then at the start of my new cycle, it's like, voila, the sun comes out again. The angels are singing. The light breaks through the clouds. It's like that angel light coming through the clouds. And just everything feels manageable again. Everything feels better, more hopeful and happy again. I feel like there is a negative stigma to PMS, and that, women have been made to feel like our feelings don't matter if we're having PMS, or like they're not legitimate, or if you're having PMS, then yeah, I don't know, that it's some kind of bad thing. And I definitely take issue with that. All of our feelings are valid all the time. And everyone, men and women, we have ups and downs related to hormones and life stress and just things that happen. We all experience all kinds of feelings all the time, good and bad, and all of our feelings are normal. It is true, though, that, during this time of our cycle, whatever emotions are already there can really be heightened, really be intensified, and they can feel so overwhelming. So even though our hormones don't make us feel any certain way, they can magnify the feelings that we're already experiencing. So life stress that would normally bother us, but just to a lesser degree, that, it would feel bad, but just not overwhelming. Those feelings can just be so ramped up and intense during this time. It's just like turning up the volume on our feelings. For me, in my life, I have experience with low-grade depression and anxiety and postpartum anxiety and depression. And so I can definitely see that, it feels like that, sometimes more than others, but during those times, it can feel hard to remember the good stuff and hard to remember reasons why things aren't quite as bad as they feel and seem, or hard to remember that this will pass, things will get better. It can feel like fear is the dominant emotion instead of love and peace that you really want to feel. You know how they say, everything is coming from either fear or love. And I think when we have such negative feelings, fear is that dominant emotion, deep down. But it is so reassuring to know that it's going to pass. It won't feel that way for very long. So in today's show, I'm going to share ways that we can help ourselves to feel better during this time, and how we can use this time and this experience to learn and grow and nurture and love ourselves, and even get closer to the people we love and who love us too. So there are two main strategies to feeling better if you're experiencing these really intense feelings related to PMS. Honestly, these strategies are also good anytime you're experiencing stress and life challenges and just, don't feel good. So even if you don't have bad PMS, lucky you, or if you're even a man, you'll probably be able to get some good tips for dealing with challenging times when life feels hard. The first strategy to feeling better is accept your feelings and love yourself through them. And then the second strategy is to ramp up your self-care big time. And I'm going to be sharing 20 ways to take your self-care to the next level to help yourself feel better. The first step is just to actually notice your feelings. Notice how you're feeling mentally, yes, but then even more importantly, physically, in your body. So this is the main thing. How and where in your body are you feeling this? You can close your eyes, sit with it, bring your attention to where in your body you're feeling whatever you're feeling. It might be tightness in your throat. It might be heaviness in your chest. It might feel like tightness in your shoulders. It might feel like tension in your forehead or your jaw. Just take a few minutes and allow yourself to notice the feelings, allow the feelings, and just sit with them. You might also, as you're doing this, you might notice different things, you might notice it shifting and changing. So this is allowing ourselves to feel this way. And it's so beneficial. And honestly, this is what we need to be doing all month long and all life long. So we can waste a whole lot of energy and drag ourselves through a lot of unnecessary misery when we unconsciously fight against our own feelings. I think most of us do this just as a natural way to try to protect ourselves. But the irony is that it doesn't work at all to try to push down our feelings. It's normal, and it's a common response to feelings that don't feel good. But what actually helps us is to allow our feelings. So the wonderful thing about this is that by allowing and noticing and accepting our feelings, they'll often dissipate on their own much faster. And then we, of course, then we're happy about that. I think the reason why we push them down is because we're afraid. We're afraid to feel bad, understandably. It seems so scary. And, we're not consciously thinking about this, but it feels threatening, and it just feels scary. We don't want to feel bad. But again, the funny thing is that by actually just letting go and allowing whatever we really are feeling and trying to not feel, then we can breathe. It's like we can exhale. And when we let it be, whatever it is, even if it's not good, not pleasant, it's like we're free to just kind of let it go. And it often just goes on its own. And it may not right away. It might and might not. But the thing is, too, it also usually shows us that we don't have to really be so afraid, because even though it might be painful, it's not going to kill us, And so it's like we're letting go of that fear. And that itself feels good. So after we notice our feelings and get into our body and notice our feelings in our body, also we can notice our thoughts. What thoughts are you having that are behind these feelings? What beliefs? What fears? Fears are just thoughts. And when you notice these, you become aware of your thoughts, and it can be helpful to write them down. Write them down without censoring yourself. And I also want you to think about why these thoughts or fears make sense. Why they could make sense. Like, I'm afraid of this because this happened in my past and I'm so afraid of it happening again. Or, this makes sense for me to feel this way because I had this really bad experience at work. And anyone would feel pain at dealing with that kind of stress or having that kind of interaction with someone. So of course I'm feeling bad in response to that happening. I think sometimes we add feelings of guilt or shame to these painful feelings that we have, and then that makes it 10 times worse. Like feeling that we shouldn't feel this way. Sometimes things just hurt, sometimes like if our child says, I hate you, or, you're the worst mommy in the world or whatever, it can hurt our feelings. But for me, sometimes I might be thinking, I shouldn't be feeling that way because I know that they're just children and da-da-da-da. And yes, we can also then come to a place of, yes, I do remember also they didn't really mean that, of course they love me, whatever. So it's helpful to notice our feelings, remember that our feelings are normal, and then to honor ourselves and our feelings, and notice the thoughts behind the feelings. We do deserve to be loved, and we do deserve to be treated with kindness. So it's okay, whatever we feel. Something else that helps me is just to remember that I don't have to be perfect all the time, even though I want to do a good job. And sometimes we're just feeling more vulnerable, and that's okay. Loving ourselves through times and moments like this helps us, but it also makes us more compassionate and loving to others. So when we do give ourselves a break, not only are we helping ourselves, but we're helping other people too. When we can learn to be compassionate to ourselves, it helps us to be more compassionate and loving to other people too. So when we bring awareness to the thoughts that we're thinking and our underlying beliefs and fears, and then we accept them, it opens the way to the better thoughts and feelings that feel better and feel maybe more true, that are more true. And I also just want to say that part of allowing can be just letting yourself cry. I definitely think a good cry can help. And if you feel like crying, cry. I know as moms, sometimes we may not always feel like we have a chance, but you know what? I'd say if you feel like crying, it's okay to cry in front of your children, of course. And it shows them that it's okay for them to cry too and to feel their feelings. So definitely, have a good cry if you feel like it. Now, I know I kind of spent a good bit of time talking about all that, allowing your feelings, allowing and noticing your thoughts, feeling into your body. But doing that doesn't have to actually take a long time. It can be a really quick thing. Just basically bring your awareness to your feelings, to your body, how you're feeling your feelings in your body. Notice your thoughts. What's the thought behind your feeling? And what's the belief behind the feeling? So how exactly do we do this? As I said, you can do it just, sitting and sort of, thinking and bringing awareness to your body. You can also do it through writing, through journaling. I love journaling, as you know. You can also talk to a friend about it. Call your friend and just talk about your feelings. You could also meditate and see what bubbles up in your mind. I do think it's wise and helpful to write down the good stuff that comes up, though, so that you can remember it. It definitely helps me because my memory isn't all that great, and I really need written reminders, especially during the hard times. All right, so the first strategy, to sum up, is accepting your feelings and loving yourself through them. It's okay to feel how you feel. And then number 2 is to ramp up your self-care big time. And so I'm going to talk about 20 different ways you can do that. And obviously these are good anytime, but extra important, going into that time of month, if that you might feel really, more intense and you're already going through a stressful time in your life, that's the time to make sure you're doing this. Make sure you're getting the self-care you need to feel your best. All right, so number 1 is eat healthy food. Eat, lots of vegetables, leafy greens, and reduce your sugar and processed food, and just drink a ton of water. And then kind of going hand in hand with that, number 2 is to consider a B vitamin supplement. So there have been a lot of studies done related to B vitamins and PMS, and so I think the jury's still out about how well an actual supplement helps, but for me personally, I definitely, want to do this more, take more B vitamins and see if that helps. So you can also think about eating foods that contain lots of B vitamins, but a B vitamin supplement is something else to add, to your toolbox, whatever. All right. So number 3 is to journal about how you're feeling, really allowing all your feelings. I've talked about pain journaling. It's just a way to let it out. If you are feeling really intense feelings, and I mentioned how we need to not push them down, not bottle them up, journaling can help you let them out. So that's a strategy you can use. And then another strategy for letting them out, and also just having the warm feeling of connection, is talking to other people. So connect with others. Call a friend to talk, or go get coffee or tea together, or, just cuddle with your partner. This can be so important at this time, connecting with the people you love. Number 5 is take a hot bath with Epsom salts and lavender or your favorite soothing essential oil. And what makes it extra special is turning on Pandora on the spa channel, or whatever music you really like. But I do really like the spa channel because it really feels like you're getting away. And then on a related note, number 6 is take a hot shower with essential oils. Like maybe you don't have time to run a bath and do all that. Well, you can just drop some essential oils like out of the way of the water and enjoy how good it smells. Number 7 is spend some time in nature. Whether you're just going on a walk in your neighborhood or going to a local park or your botanical garden, just getting out into nature is really soothing and relaxing and helps us feel better. Number 8 is do yoga. Even if it's just a few poses or one pose or a little stretching, or maybe you have a video you can do. Number 9, take a walk. Walking is another great way to help ourselves feel better. And number 10 is get enough sleep. Maybe you need to take a nap, go do it, and go to bed early. Go to bed early. We really need our sleep. I mean, I've said it before, but for me, sleep is the foundation. Really, if I'm not getting enough sleep, I can tell, and I really am not at my best mentally if I'm not getting enough sleep. And number 11 is meditate. As I've talked about before, meditation really helps us to be present in the moment, learn to be more present in the moment, be more mindful. And it's been, research has shown how much it helps. I highly, highly, highly recommend meditation. I know I said sleep was number 1, but meditation's right up there with sleep for me, actually. Number 12 is smell essential oils, or you can diffuse them. And some ones that help promote feelings of calm are clary sage, geranium, and another one, a blend, is called Release, or just whatever smells good to you, whatever makes you feel good. Maybe lavender, peppermint. And number 13, you might try a progesterone cream. There are natural ones that contain wild yam extract, and I'll have a link to one I like in the show notes as well. Number 14 is use uplifting oracle cards. And I'll share a link to the ones I like in the show notes. But yeah, if you need a pick-me-up or you need an encouraging word in your life, you can, pull a card. Or if you have any kind of inspirational books, that you like to read something and, think about what it really means in your life. And number 15, I hope that you are all keeping a document of kind words. A document where you write down any kind and affirming and positive words that other people have spoken to you. And so this one is to reread your document. Pull it out, pull it up, if it's on Google Docs or whatever, so that you can feel into that. It is so uplifting to revisit those kind words that people speak to us. So when the going gets tough and your confidence is wavering or you're feeling down, pull that thing out and read it. It's so good. Number 16 is to remember your truth. Remember your beliefs, your core values, what really matters to you. Some ways you can do this are, if you've written these down somewhere, go there, pull it up, and just reread it. You can use your vision board. You can reread your affirmations. You can think about what true ways that people have shown you love in your life, like just these gifts, or think about the people that you love so much and have shown you unconditional love, and take a few minutes to feel grateful, to feel gratitude for them for that. Number 17 is to read a good book. I love to read, and if my mind is going crazy worrying, especially during this PMS time, and it can feel hard to rein it in, sometimes just replacing all those thoughts with a good book, this is escaping, but that's okay in my opinion. Definitely okay. Because everything's going to feel better in a day or two. So, it might be something inspiring or encouraging, or it just might be some fun romance novel or something light that you can just get lost in. For a while, I was subscribing to the subscription service from Amazon called Kindle Unlimited. And I really enjoyed it because I could, if there was a topic I wanted to learn about, I could just search in there and find all these books that were free on it and, really educate myself about something. Like I did that with herbs. Yeah, reading about using herbs for different purposes. One thing I'm really excited about is this series of books I read for free. It was like 25 books or something. Granted, they were short, but on Kindle Unlimited, called the Shade of Vampire series. And there were like other spin-off series, like one was called Shade of Dragon. They were light and fun and super easy and quick reads, like vampire romance fantasies. So I highly recommend them. And I'm sure there are other series you could get into. But the great thing about Kindle Unlimited is that you can just read the whole series for free and you don't have to buy the books. So that's why I loved it. And I finally decided I wasn't really using it after that. After I finished that series, I wasn't using it that much, so I discontinued it. But I would not be surprised if I revisit that again. But there'll be a link in the show notes if you'd like to try it. So you can get some really good books, or if you want to read Shade of Vampire. And if you do read it, totally let me know what you think. Because I haven't really been able to find anyone to talk to about that. And maybe I shouldn't be sharing that I liked it because it's very light. It's not great literature. If you want great literature, in my opinion, read Outlander. Oh, my favorite book. I love it so much. I love the series. And that series is not fast. That's a long, long series of long, wonderful books. So if you want to get into a good series of books to get lost in, I highly recommend Outlander. And it's now on Stars, which I'm so happy about. So, yay. So, read a good book. That's number 17. Number 18 is color or do art. You can always do a coloring book, or you can sometimes we find sheets online. You can just search any topic and then coloring sheet. Like maybe dolphin coloring sheet, or stars and hearts coloring sheet, or really just anything. And find tons and tons and tons of options. But what I often enjoy doing is just, taking out white paper and crayons or colored pencils or pens and just, drawing, doing my own thing. And if you're feeling upset, sometimes just getting those crayons or paint and just like not really trying to draw anything but just doing swirls or just scribbling. If you're really upset, just scribbling it out, letting your feelings out through doing the art or, through just coloring is really therapeutic. So anything like that can feel really good and be helpful. And then number 19 is do something physical. Go work outside in the garden if you enjoy that, or go do some manual labor thing that you need to do, like go dig a hole for something that you need to do. Like I need a new mailbox. I should probably go out there and start on that. But you could do a workout video. You could turn on music you like and dance. Just get into your body so that you can take a break from your mind. And then number 20 is be kind to yourself. And one way that I do that is by reflecting on questions. And here are some questions that I find really helpful. Number 1, why does it make sense for me to feel this way? Number 2, how can I honor myself? Number 3, how can I ask for what I need? And there's a bonus strategy, and that is to allow other people to support you. I think it's so important that we let our loved ones know how we're feeling. I think it's good and wise to share with our families if we're feeling extra emotional. And, whether that's related to our hormones and PMS or any time. And I think we need to surround ourselves with people who are wise enough to get it and respect this normal time of our cycle. During this time, we can tell our partners and children that we need extra rest and care. And by doing so, we set the example that it's good to take care of ourselves, and our feelings are normal, and our feelings matter, and that we can ask for what we need. And they can too. It's great to set the example to really talk about how we're feeling, and to let other people help us and to ask for what we need. Something else I was thinking about is that there are benefits. There are really good things that can come through this time, even though it can seem very unpleasant, to put it mildly. Life is a practice, and when we do have difficult times, we can practice our skills of noticing and allowing our feelings and thoughts without clinging to them. And we can also practice allowing other people to support us. Some other benefits are that we can actually learn and gain new insights as we open up to these thoughts and feelings that come to the surface. Because these feelings can be, taken to the next level, it's a chance for us to really take note, for us to really give our attention to something we may not have been, really allowing before, because we didn't really have to, because it wasn't bothering us that much. But we can actually gain, real insight, and that, can actually lead to great, wonderful changes in our lives. Because our feelings have been ramped to the next level, the fact that we actually turn our attention toward it, notice the thoughts that we've been thinking, we can actually learn and grow and maybe realize something that we need to, make a change on in our life, or realize our faulty thinking, realizing we were thinking thoughts that are not true, and replace those thoughts with true thoughts, or true beliefs. Another benefit is, because this is a vulnerable time, it can allow us to grow closer to other people when we allow ourselves to be nurtured and cared for. When we are vulnerable, it can be really scary, but it helps us to get closer to others, and it gives them the freedom to be vulnerable too. And it's just more practice with allowing, because, life is full of these ups and downs. It can be extra intense, in a predictable way from month to month, but this is time to actually practice allowing and remembering everything's always changing. So I do want to make note, I do want to tell you that if you're feeling really, really desperate, don't keep it to yourself, and definitely do get help if you feel like you're having a hard time managing your PMS alone, or your depression or anxiety. I mean, if you're really feeling depressed, you do not need to struggle alone, and you do matter, and your feelings are valid, and you're definitely not the only one who has ever felt this way. So make sure that you talk to your doctor, and a friend, a loved one, or all of them, so that you can feel better. At times in my life, I have needed to turn to an antidepressant to help get my hormones back where they needed to be. And for me, it was definitely the right choice. Hormones can get whacked out by extreme, ongoing stress. And it's good for you and everyone you love to take good care of yourself and get the help you need. So there is definitely nothing wrong with taking an antidepressant if you need it, or anti-anxiety medication. And it does not have to be forever. I want to point that out. If you're having a really hard time and you just can't seem to feel better, then I would definitely say talk to your doctor. And just remember, this is not like for the rest of your life necessarily. For me, taking an antidepressant helped me to feel better so that I could be in a place where I could put really strong self-care practices into place. And then that helped me, to be able then to wean off, my medication and discontinue it. So if you're like me, one of the many women who experience depression or anxiety in the days leading up to your period, I hope this episode provides you with reassurance and practical steps that you can take to feel better and nurture yourself in that time. So the two big ways I talked about to nurture ourselves at this time are to accept all of our feelings and love ourselves through them. And then also number 2 is to ramp up our self-care. And then I talked about these 20 different ways we can give ourselves more self-care to feel better. We can learn ways to love ourselves in action and in truth through these times where we feel such strong emotions, fears, worries. And whether it's related to PMS or postpartum hormonal changes or just life stress, we all deserve to be happy and healthy and living lives as our true selves. And I don't mean that we need to be bouncing off the walls, with elation, with some crazy manic smile on our face. But I just mean that we have an inner contentment and we have inner peace, no matter what's happening in our lives. And we can come back to that place. We all have feelings. We all get upset, or, it's normal, certainly normal. Of course it is to feel that way. It's just that we have this peace that, this deep down peace that we can always come back to. And, even when our hormones are out of whack, we can find that inner peace and calm. Even if our emotions are heightened in response to life stress or, hormonal changes or both, we can find that equanimity so we're not so tossed and turned by the waves of life. Life, as we know, is just full of change. It's always changing. It's full of uncertainty, and that doesn't feel good. And it's full of joys, and it's full of challenges. And we can learn ways to go with the flow so that we can show up as our true selves and find peace, even when things feel extra difficult. So my hope is that we practice these so that we can love ourselves and we can love other people and we can show up as our true selves and shine our light in the world. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this is helpful. I'd love to connect with you as part of the Facebook group, so feel free to join that. Share the love by liking, sharing, rating, reviewing, or whatever. Tell your friends. All right, thanks a lot. And remember, you do deserve happiness.